Well, welcome to a location that has been on my bucket list for quite some time now. As you can see, I'm camping out. It's actually one of the easiest ways to get to this location is to camp here. And the shot that I'm trying to get is of a sand dune. And the sand dunes, whilst it doesn't look like there's sand dunes around me, we're actually in a camping ground that is around about 100 metres from the sand dune. We're going to leave the campground, climb up the sand dune, or the first dune, and then it'll open up into a whole bunch of sand dunes. And it is, what time is it? Let's have it, 5:38 p.m. So we've still got a bit of time before sunset, and it's quite difficult for me to see what the sky is doing. I see a few clouds up there, but it's quite a thick canopy of trees here, so not sure what we're going to be in for. I've got a couple of shots in mind. One of those is that classic shot with the sand dune sort of filling half the frame and then the sky filling the other half of the frame. That's one shot. There's also this national park where I am, which is Mungo Brush, or Myall Lakes National Park, but we're at Mungo Brush. They have this, I don't know, like a vista of old trees, I don't know what it is, that are all, they look dead, and actually would make for a great photograph. So I'm going to try and get that as well at sunset, because the sun will be setting down behind them. Once again, depends on what the sky is doing, but I'm pretty sure we'll be able to get something that's sort of, you know, amazing, and that's what it's all about. All right, I've got my gear ready. I'm going to chuck my backpack on it and we'll get going. Let's do it. Well, as you can probably see, I'm surrounded by sand dunes, and one of the challenges I find in an environment like this is deciding what is the best thing to shoot. I mean, there's so many sand dunes here, and it's one of the reasons that I've got up here a couple of hours early, because I'm just not sure how I'm going to shoot these. One was I wanted a really clean sand dune, so I don't want any vegetation in it. And the second thing, I don't actually want to have the water or any other terrain in the background. And so I'm looking for a sand dune that is just nice rippled sand, and then all you can see is the sky. The other thing I want to make sure is that the sand dune that I pick doesn't have footprints all through it, and there's, you know, this is a campground and there's people around, and so unfortunately what that means is that there's been quite a few people walking around up here. But I've really got in my mind, you know how sometimes you get in your mind exactly a shot that you want to grab, and I'm hoping that I'm able to grab that. So anyway, we'll see what happens. All I can do is keep looking around. Well, you won't hear me say this very often, but I think I've arrived a little bit too early. The sun's still quite high in the sky, quite harsh, but I think I found a location, which is good. So the brief was that I wanted to find a dune that was not heavily vegetated or had any vegetation, that didn't have views of the water or any other terrain, and was completely clear of tracks, human tracks anyway. This one does have a few, I think it's bird tracks actually, not lizard tracks on this one. Because of the way it starts and stops. I don't think a lizard can fly, so it's going to have to be a bird. I think the challenge I'm going to have to wait till the sun dips down. And what I'm hoping, and who knows how this is going to work out, so what I'm thinking is once the sun dips down, I'll be able to shoot across this sand dune and it'll look amazing, and we'll get the colour in the skies. I'll set up and we'll see what happens. I've also got an option to shoot the other way as well with some foliage. So I've got myself in a position where I think I have an opportunity to shoot both ways with some different elements that'll make it interesting, and that's what it's all about. So let's see how we go. I think I'll kick things off with the 14 to 24mm. It has a very, very wide angle. I think it's where I'll start. I want to capture the enormity of this dune. Is that a word? Enormity? I don't know. There is a small branch in front of me, sort of in the shadows, that I think I might throw up onto the dune to add interest after I take my first series of shots without it in the dune. I think this lens is going to do it justice. I'm not sure how wide to go. I don't know whether I'll put a filter on. I think I'll put a CPL on. And what the CPL will do is it's going to settle down the sky. This is my leaf filter holder. You may have seen this before. Just goes on the front of this whopping big, great big lens. That is the 14 to 24. We're going to then get a CPL filter. Now the CPL filter in this Lee kit is a glass filter. It's a bit of a pain, to be honest with you, because it is so big, but it's going to make all the difference, even on the, oh wow, even the sand. The problem with this is because it's a square filter and it goes into the same filter holder as my graduators, if I'm using the graduated filters, you pretty much want it square onto the sky. As where with this, you actually sometimes need to rotate it to get the right look. You know, I can tell you now that looks really good. The good thing about this filter is it is making the sky look beautiful and blue. So I'll quickly talk you through my settings. It's still pretty bright. It is 6:36, so about an hour off a sunset, but I wanted to get this as a contrast to, or as a selection between the two images, because I thought if I get one whilst the sun's still up, I wasn't sure what's going to be the best light. I'm worried once the sun goes down and the shadows are getting cast on these dunes, that the detail is going to disappear. So I've got this currently we're in ISO 64, f18, and it's shooting at 1/13 of a second, so really fast. I mean, I could just about handhold it, not quite safely do it, but just about. And I've got the CPL filter on there. You can see it's sort of been rotated slightly. You've got to be really careful. You know, if I go too far, it makes the sky really, really dark blue. But just a little bit of it is just bringing the richness back to that sky. The thing that has surprised me, that I'm loving, is the detail in the sand. And so I'm hoping that that is going to continue to work for me. From a composition point of view, it's relatively simple. You know, I've got about 2/3 of sand dune, 1/3 of sky, and that's it. And I really wanted to go for a simplistic image. The idea of this is just to get the sand and the sky. I had this in my mind of what I wanted to capture, and I wanted the cleanest dune I could possibly find. Now, unfortunately, I've had a bit of a look around. Most of them have got bits of vegetation on them, but this one doesn't. But it does have a few little bits and, you know, specks of garbage on it, or not garbage, but, you know, bits of branch or something, and these footprints, which I'm going to have to remove out of the shot a bit later. But otherwise, it's pristine, it's perfect. So I'm going to keep shooting here. I'm going to change my composition slightly to see if I can avoid those footsteps. Although I really like that part of the dune because it's the steepest part, and that gives a really good sense of the size of the dune in the photo. I'm just going to keep shooting, and as the sun sets, the light will change, as to my composition. I just love coming to places like this. Just love it. Beautiful breeze. I can hear the ocean, the birds. You can probably hear them as well. Beautiful spot. Yeah, lovely spot. Well, I'm pretty sure I said to you before I wasn't going to include any foliage in my shot, but look at how the light is hitting those trees. The other thing is the shadow of the dune now is creating a leading line up the dune. And it looks awesome. So I'm just getting a few shots of that. I've switched out from the circular polarizing filter to the 0.6 soft grad at this point in time. ISO 64 f10 now at 1/30th of a second is what it's choosing. I mean, the light's changing all the time, so it's going to keep changing. At f10, everything should be nice and sharp, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to try something a little bit higher as well. I'm going to go for f16, 1/5 of a second is all good. But the shadow's now moved, which means that the whole composition has to change because that shadow keeps moving. Anyway, I'm going to go back over here now and just shoot up the dune. But it's good, I'm enjoying it, it's a good spot. Definitely getting some nice shots. As that sun goes down, things are going to keep changing. So I've just got to keep moving around and be in the right spot at the right time. about, I don't know, about 12 minutes from sunset. And the reason I'm puffing a little bit is I just run up a 20-30 metre dune to get to the top here for sunset. Just getting myself recomposed mentally and photographically. I was shooting that shot that I wanted to get with the dune, and I got a portrait shot, I got a landscape shot, and I'm really happy, I think, with how they worked out. I was trying different things with filters, without, and I didn't film much of it because the light was changing so quickly. Anyway, so I've got a few minutes now. There's a very small branch in the sand here that has left a few patterns. I'm going to compose with that in the foreground. I'm thinking 0.6, 0.9 soft grade straight across in towards the sunset. Beautiful colour in the sky, and we should get an amazing shot. So, well, come to this. We are just about to shoot sunset. I'm just waiting for the sun to dip down over the top of a dune, but oh wow, I'm just in awe of the beauty of this place. I could come back here and shoot time and time again, but even the sky, I think the sky is going to colour up. There's not a lot of cloud in the sky. I think there's enough to make it interesting. So yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I'm finishing up with just a 0.9 soft grad, 14 to 24 on, f18. I want the depth of field. I've got a little bit of foreground interest. Just loving it, just loving it. How good is it? Is it any wonder photography is such a popular hobby? Absolutely spectacular sunset and spectacular location. I think I say spectacular a lot. Anyway, that means it's good. I think I'll hang around for a while yet. The colour will continue. Beautiful breeze, nice temperature. Colours are amazing, just amazing. If you enjoyed the video, do me a favour, hit that like button. If you're not already, consider subscribing. If you like this type of content, there'll be a lot more of this coming. And make sure you hit the notification bell. That way you'll never ever miss out on an episode. Until next time, get out and take some photos.
This video is proudly brought to you by the On 3 Legs VIPs, very important photographers. If you'd like to become an On 3 Legs VIP, head to patreon.com/on3legs to learn more.